we'll be going over the IRS notice known as CP01. We have verified your claim of identity theft. So we're going to go through this notice and kind of outline some of the things that the IRS says that you should do, what you don't need to do, and some actions that you may consider taking. But I wanted to point out something right off the bat, and that's the fact that this notice looks very similar to what is known as a CP01C notice. So in this notice, which we did a video for a few days ago, it says we verified your reports to support your identity theft report. And in this one, the CP01 notice says that we have verified your claim of identity theft. So I don't know what the nuance is. I don't know what the difference is between these and what would trigger the IRS to send a notice, one type of notice in a certain situation versus the other. This is the website that shows the IRS guidance on what to do with your CP01C notice. And then this is the guidance that appears with your CP01 notice. So the only thing that I can think about is really kind of tackling this first sentence or two that says we verified your claim of identity theft and placed an indicator on your account. We'll monitor your tax account for activity to help prevent future fraud. Whereas with the CP01C notice simply says we placed an identity theft indicator on your account. It doesn't mention anything about verifying your claim. So there may be some nuance. So I don't see what that is. In either case, CP01 notices, whether it's a CP01, CP01C, CP01B, all of these notices usually have something to do with identity theft. So the fact that you're receiving any correspondence from the IRS, regardless of the type of notice, means a couple of things. One, you probably don't need to file an identity theft affidavit if they've already verified your claim. So that is not even mentioned in this letter, the CP01 notice, whereas it actually is it is referred to in one of the other CP01 notices, not the CP01C, but one of the other notices. There's a form known as IRS Form 14039, the Identity Theft Affidavit. So you don't have to complete that if the IRS has already marked your record. So let's go ahead and just start with the top of the form. You'll see the type of the notice at the very top right corner, as well as the notice date. This usually is important when there are action items that you as the taxpayer need to pay attention to, because any due dates, any deadlines usually are tied to the notice date. There should be a phone number to contact the IRS, whether it's their standard 800 number or if there's a direct office that you have access to. It should be placed on the notice. And then, of course, this should say your taxpayer name, address, city, state, and zip. So the first thing that it will say is that they're going to review your tax returns with your social security number to see if any of them have trademarks of identity theft. What happens in a lot of cases with a stolen identity is that the thieves will claim, they'll file a fraudulent tax return in your name using a lot of your information. They will pad any credits, any deductions, anything that they can do to create the largest tax refund possible. And then they'll direct that refund into an account that they control. And by the time the IRS, takes the time to go back to review it, because when a tax return is initially filed, there's usually a preliminary check that the IRS will do, but this doesn't go into detail in terms of reviewing the tax return. So once the IRS goes back and reviews the tax return, if there are any errors that are caught, which inevitably they will be because they won't match all of the other tax documents that are on file, then you'll get the notice. You'll get the letters that say that you owe us money because we've disallowed these deductions, these tax credits, and you'll be on the hook. So the IRS is going to review tax returns to see if there's any red flags. Now, you can also request copies of tax returns if you've been the victim of an identity theft by filing IRS form 4506-F. That's specifically for identity theft victims. So I will put a link to the article and video that we created about that form, as well as the identity theft affidavit in the show notes. So because the IRS has flagged your tax record, the IRS will issue you what's known as an identity protection pin, or an IP pin, in order to file your tax returns in the future. So this is basically kind of like two-factor authentication, where when you file your tax return, you're putting in information that's mostly known only to you. And then on top of that, you'll have your own 6-digit PIN number that you will need to file your tax return. And it's important to safeguard this and to memorize it, or at least have it kept in a safe place, because without that IP PIN, you won't be able to file your tax return. So you should expect to receive an IP PIN in the mail from the IRS in December, before tax filing season. So if you and your spouse have your tax records flagged, you each will receive an IP PIN, and that PIN will be changed every year. So as a result, you'll need to make sure that you keep your address on file up to date with the IRS. And you can do that by filing IRS Form 8822, which is the IRS change of address form. So we'll put links in the show notes to that as well. You can get a PIN immediately by going to this link on the IRS website and verifying your identity. We'll take a quick look at that. And there's a walkthrough on how you can get your IP PIN. You can fill out an application, IRS Form 15227. We'll put a link in the show notes for that. I think we've created an argument. If we have, then we'll put a link in the show notes. So you can retrieve a lost PIN. There's all this information about what you can do about your identity theft PINs. So let's scroll down. There's a resource, IRS Publication 5027, which is the identity theft information for taxpayers. This is how I mentioned that you would be able to file your or request a tax return. You can file IRS Form 4506-F. That's the taxpayer identity theft fraudulent return request form. You can also take steps to protect the personally identifiable information for any dependents. So you would need to file a complaint with the FTC to receive step-by-step guidance. And then, of course, keep this on file. At the moment, you don't need to do anything. They do give you links to resources. A good thing to do would be to also contact the Social Security Administration to make sure that your information is properly reported there as well. So again, that's all we have for this video. I still don't understand the difference between a CP01 or a CP01C notice. I will do some more research and see, and any research I find, I'll put that I'll pin a comment in the show notes. So we'll put links to the articles and videos that we've created about these different forms mentioned in the video. If you like our articles, please subscribe to our newsletter. If you like our YouTube videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, please post them in the comments section. Thank you very much and have a great day.